What's up, goofballs, and welcome back to Opinionate. I'm Kooks. Today we are going through my notes app, which means today I'm embarrassing myself for 20 minutes for your entertainment. Now, I still don't have the equipment to film and edit with, so I'm borrowing my sister's camera again, but I thought this is a short little video that I can put up in the meantime, hopefully. For now, let's start going through my notes app and embarrassing myself. Okay. We are off to a cracking start. Okay, so this one says someone needs to get the Harambe kid on a podcast over the next few years, and I know that I wrote that because I realized he would be a teenager now. So I want to know if he grew up knowing that he was like the Harambe kid and it was this big movement, how it affected the family and his life. Like, I want to know so much, but obviously he would only be like 13 now. So hopefully over the next few years someone is able to get him or his mum or someone on a podcast and we can know about the behind the scenes, because my lord, dude, that was massive back then. I think it was 2016. It was a huge movement. I need to know. Anyway, okay, this one's about Jeff Wittick, and I just want to say, no one that's mentioned in this is going to see it, but on the off chance they do, none of this is coming from a place of hate or anything negative. I love you all so much, and I just get random ass thoughts that don't leave me alone, and sometimes I gotta put them in my notes app. So let's get into this one. Okay, so I might just explain this one than reading it out. I think Jeff Wittick should start a sunglasses brand. He could call it something funny like Illegally Blind or whatever, and each pair of sunnies has a different backhanded names. He's had 12 surgeries, so he could have 12 different pairs of sunnies named surgery 1, surgery 2, surgery 3, etc. And then he could name another pair Avoid the Topic, and another pair Lawsuit Pending, and things like that. I think he could really make some money off it, get a few jabs in there, but with that he could also start an organization where 5% of his proceeds go towards him helping pay off other people's surgeries, and with that they can also apply to be interviewed by him so they can share their story. He can continue his vlogging, and then he could also do barbershop episodes if he wanted to, where he gives them a haircut while they share their story. I think he would profit off it. His audience would grow. He would really enjoy doing the vlogging and the podcasting and everything. He'd be helping people out. I just think it would be iconic and he should do it. Anyway, moving on. So sorry. Oh god, okay, another thing there's probably going to be a few of. This one's a movie idea. So, the movie's title would be Conspiracy, S-E-E at the end, Conspiracy. And basically, the beginning would follow this guy's father, right? And this guy's father works for the government, and so he is going through and he's seeing all the corruption in the government and all these conspiracies that people have, he sees that there is actually a cure for cancer and they're actually killing the people that created it and refusing to release the cure for cancer and all these other crazy things, and it gets too much for him, so he ends up ending his own life. But the movie is based on his kid that then is trying to figure out if his dad ended his life or if he was murdered, and he doesn't realize until he discovers all these things and himself wants to end his life because he now knows too much and the government's all corrupt and whatnot. Anyway, thought that could be a fun film idea. Ended up in the notes because it wouldn't stop repeating in my brain. Next. This is another one from when I think this one I was 14 or 15. I don't know how we're gonna like this one, so I'm gonna read it again. I can't tell if it's a poem or a song. I think this is a poem as well, but it says, I step on glass every day, and it's my choice, but it's not. Hurting myself so many times, yet not one single cut. I step on glass every day, it's something I'm obsessed with, something I keep to myself, I'm the only one to contest with. I step on glass every day, I want to feel proud, but if the number's not going down, my head gets far too loud. I step on glass every day, sometimes 30 times. The number stares right back at me, I pray it never climbs. I step on glass every day, I know how this story goes. Hate so strong towards myself, I need baggier clothes. I step on glass every day, but not the kind that cuts, it's the kind that pushes you right into the deepest and darkest ruts. I step on glass every day, and it does in fact cause pain. Not the type to cause a bleed, the type that rots your brain. I step on glass every day, I always feel too full. Maybe one day I'll step off the glass, look in the mirror, move on with my day, and not find fat to pull. Shit me darn it, dude. I did not know that was about what it was about, but that's about weighing yourself. That makes me so sad because I was like 14 when I wrote that. And yes, I had like struggles for like a decade at that point. But that is crazy. Get off the glass, girl. Get off the glass. So sorry. Shit me down it, dude. I did not know this was going to be as dark of a thing. I was unwell for a long time, I will say that.
Yeah, I see that.
Maybe I'm really going to have to chop this up and try and arrange them back and forth so that it's not just a heap of dark things towards the end. But we need to find something a little hootier. Oh my god, okay, this is a little tune I wrote, but I can't sing. This is the issue. I've always written music and poems and TV shows and blah blah blah, but I don't have the talent to execute it, especially when it comes to singing. Unfortunately, I can only hear this one in Olivia Rodrigo's voice too, which I really, really can't do, but I don't know. I might just try and insert the lyrics quickly for that one, and we'll move on from there before I, make your ears bleed. Okay, for this one, I think it sounds similar to this style of her music.
It's not as interesting as the girls you had before. The God, you couldn't have cared less.
And these are the lyrics. Pause to read. Next. Okay, this could sound really backhanded, and I really don't mean it backhanded in any way, but Mike Malek. I think you should have a solo pod, and I think you could call it something like Myconic's Pod or Myconic's Thoughts, and spell it like Myconic, like iconic, Myconic, but the little I's are little microphones. Anyway, I think if you were to release a card game, so you could call it Myconic's Platonic Pursuit or something like that, or Myconic's Prompted Pursuit, and it's basically different question prompts, all a range of different things, like intellectual questions, random would you rathers, funny prompts, like whole different series of questions. And on your podcast you could have people come on, you interview them drawing different cards, you could take it on to other podcasts to help promote it. I think it could be a solo podcast where you could invite people on to interview them. I know you said in a podcast recently that you much rather the interviewing side and asking questions side, and from what I've seen, you like to also share your knowledge and information, and often you're getting perceived in quite a negative way, whether that's people saying it's coming from a place of ego, or you're projecting or performative, or whatever it is. I think it's because sometimes you are so loud about your opinions and you're so passionate about it, but often the loudest person in the room is going to be seen as the one with the biggest ego, and no matter how intelligent what you're saying is, the information doesn't get retained, because they're focusing on those other things, and I think that's why you get perceived in certain ways no matter what you're saying. But I think this would cut that out. It would just bring so many people over to see you in a much more positive light, and I don't know, I think you'd benefit from it mentally, financially, grow your audience. It would be a massive thing. You could also release a drink called like Myconic's Gym and Tonic or something like that, and you could collab with Prime and do Myconic's Prime and Lime, and it's like a tonic water that's very healthy for you. You got a gym version one, like you got so many options here. But anywhoosie, I don't know who in the girl boss town I thought I was in this notes app, but moving on. So sorry, much love. Okay, I did make a TikTok out of this one. Again, I can't sing. I wish I could.
You wish, jellyfish.
Someone needs to sing 313 from the 8 Mile soundtrack, but make it like a jazz a cappella version. Like, I can hear it in my head. It's a soprano singing. It's like layered vocals, people harmonizing with each other, and it's like high pitch, and I can hear it so well. But someone needs to make like a jazz a cappella version of the 313 from 8 Mile.
No.
Okay, this one just says first person to ride a horse. I'm assuming I was curious as to how that went. However, we'll never know because that's all it says. Moving on. This one just says fear of parents, which I think I did talk about briefly on TikTok, but basically just, did anyone else grow up absolutely terrified of parents and like feeling like you have to try and make yourself invisible? Like if I was at a friend's house, I was not accepting water or food or using their toilet or anything like that. I was so scared. I wanted to try and make myself invisible to be the perfect house guest. Like it was to the point, even in my late teens, my ex, who I was with for 5 years, it got to the point where his mum felt so bad that I wasn't like drinking water or coffee or anything at her house, that she would make them all cuppers and bring me an empty mug, like a mug of air, because she felt bad. And it's like, I just always had it in my brain that being as invisible as possible is the only way to like show respect and get through a visit or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. My lord. Oh my god, this is about another podcast. My gosh, I'm so sorry to these divas too, but I actually did make this one into a TikTok, so I'm gonna insert it here, Miss Tanner and Miss Trisha.
Vegas is dying. That's what people everywhere are saying.
I think I have the solution. Okay, hear me out. Trisha Paytas and Tana Mojo do a show. It's called Divas Las Vegas. It opens with a big act of Trisha's iconic Viva Las Vegas performance where they're all in showgirl outfits, etc. But it's also a mixture of their Not Loveline podcast and a show of them performing their iconic performances and stuff. So not only will they interact with the crowd where they have like people pass around a microphone that looks like a little fake phone, so it's like they're calling into the podcast and you can answer their questions like live in the audience, but Tana could pull out her iconic Hefner performance, and each time that's performed, they could bring out a different iconic Playboy bunny, like their girly Holly Madison, you know what I mean? And then they could end the show with a cute little song, and they've always spoken about writing their own songs, so it could be a cute little something like, you're the Tana to my Trisha, the love to my not love line, when I'm having a bad day, then ain't with you, I'm feeling fine, doing shows and shooting photos with you's favorite thing of mine, ain't that true? Like, they could take it country like Tana wants to, and they can, like, make it cute, like, you're the pickle to my talkie, the curl to my curly fry, why? You get the point, right? And the pushing for it could be them in showgirl outfits, but they have like a giant phone, right? And the phone is laying down for one of the photos where one of them's laying on it like it's a therapist couch and the other one's like sitting there taking notes like they're the therapist. And then do another one where the phone's like upright and one of them's screaming into the bottom of the phone like, dump him, and the other one's just listening up to the top of it. You know, get it really cute. Anyway, that's how Vegas is gonna get tourists. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know who in the girl boss town I thought I was on that day, but anyway, moving on. I'm so sorry. Much love.
Who are you?
Okay, this one I found with another one that'll be coming up very shortly, I'm assuming, but I wrote these when I was maybe like 15. I don't actually know if this was meant to be a song or a poem or what, but I'll read it out to you. So it's called You're My Portable Charger. You're my portable charger, but let me explain. When my social battery is dead and being alone is on my brain, you're the only one that doesn't make me feel it continue to drain. When the day's been so long but it's only 10 a.m, you're the only one who makes me not try to waste the day in REM. If I ever need to cancel or make changes to our plans, you're the only one who ever even mildly understands. And if I ever needed someone in the middle of the night, I know that across the country you'd get on the first flight. For all of this I know that you're my one true lifeline. I hope I'm your portable charger because, my friend, you are mine. No, it's a bit sweet. Anyway, moving on. So sorry, I'm embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Okay, so I had convinced myself it just says Hannah Burner baby, and basically I had a little premonition and it was of Hannah Burner just absolutely screaming as if she was giving birth, and that's what I assumed the vision was, sort of thing. So I wrote it in my notes just in case it was a little premonition, right? And after writing it in my notes, I had convinced myself that Miss Girl was pregnant because she stopped showing up on my FYP, but I refused to go out of my way to find her because I was like, nah, I'll figure it out in real time. I doubt she's actually pregnant. I actually had a very similar one around the same time of Jeff Whittick screaming with saliva out his mouth, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was him working out. He then released a podcast episode where he spoke about how he lost the plot in a ward. Been there, brother, do not stress. But then it got me questioning myself, like, damn, is Hannah Burner going through it? And I just assumed she was giving birth, like, or she's pregnant or whatever. Honestly, probably none of the above, but it's in the notes app. I'm so sorry, Queen. I hope you're doing well. Moving on. Shit me darn it. This is another little one that I had found from when I was like 15. This one seems a little bit darker though, so I'm so sorry for the vibe change. It says, I hurt myself because you hurt me, but the hurt that we both cause only I can see. Physical or mental, it starts to feel the same. Nowhere to run from it and no one else to blame. If it's happening to me, then it must be all my fault. So my hurt I'll keep a secret and I'll lock it in a vault. That's all. I'm so sorry. Next! The amount of hello?
Today, Junior?
The amount of random little grocery lists that I've come across that I'm like, yep, that says coffee, that says coffee, that one says coffee. How much coffee do you consume, Diva? It's the only thing I'm allowed to swallow that's not a clear liquid, but you got an issue, girl.
You've got a lot of those.
Okay, this This is a song I wrote like 2 years ago, but it gets stuck in my head constantly, and this is where I have an issue with not being able to execute it, because I just feel like some other people would really like the tune if I could create it. So I might try and put it together to make it. I don't even know, bro. I don't think you're gonna get the vision. Alright, I'm either gonna insert a clip of me trying to execute it somewhat, or we're just gonna leave it at me saying the lyrics. But first I'm going to show you a clip of when I attempted to do this with my guitar, and then I'm just going to say the lyrics for you, because as you'll see, the wind did not help us. Okay, so I'm just going to half say the lyrics and the tune at the same time, but it just goes, can't tell if I'm gay or I'm just traumatized by men, ba-dum-boom, get us out on dates, but I'm too scared to go on them, ba-dum-boom, try to think about it, get frustrated in the end, but truth is, men are scary, but I fucking love women. Might be bi, I might be pan, I'm terrified of men, boom boom. Don't have a type when it comes to chicks, I like a mask or femme, boom boom. Line up all my exes, look alike, not one of them, but there is certainly one gender that made changes to my chems. And then I might just leave the last verse as like a little paragraph so that you know how the song ends. But anyway, I'm so sorry about that. Moving on. The amount of half-written poems and songs and movie ideas, like, I do this thing where my brain, I have ADHD, so it will not shut up, and I have like 15 thoughts at once, and some of them are literally just a loop of like a random thought. So if it's song lyrics or something, I just write them in my notes and hope that I can move on from them. There's a lot of that in here, but we're gonna try and find something that is complete. Oh, this is okay. This is a poem I wrote when I was like 15 years old, maybe even slightly younger. It was right around 14 to 17, but I think I was 15, and I thought some people might relate to this one, especially if you're around that age. So I'm gonna read it out. I think it's a poem and not a song, but honestly I don't remember that well. Let's get into it. It wasn't that I never felt like I could fit in, it was that I've always felt like I'm in the way. Like my awkwardness filled up the room, like I never know what to do or say. I've always felt unwelcomed, like an intruder, a nuisance to have around, uncomfortable in every setting and interaction, an annoyance and an embarrassment to surround. Feeling so small yet way too big, taking up more space than I deserve, constantly pissing people off with my existence, always scared I'm gonna strike a nerve. I watch how they're all so confident, don't second guess their every move, but I'm so uncomfortable in this thing called life, what if I never find my groove? That one's a little ouchy, but I thought that someone might relate out there, and just know you're not alone, but things also can and will get easier and better, and there's a whole community of people out there to make you feel a little more comfortable in this world and a little more welcomed, and like every day's not so uncomfortable and like you're not taking up space, because guess what? You're allowed to take up a wee bit of space. It's okay. Alright, moving on. This one's titled People Are Like Rubik's Cubes, which seems promising, so we're gonna have a read. Again, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my brain does this, but it's just constantly... It won't shut up! I'm sorry.
Somebody's detain me!
Alright. So, people are like Rubik's Cubes. People are like Rubik's Cubes, some have everything organized and seem put together perfectly, others jumbled and all over the place, but both just as bright and colorful. You assume the put together one came that way, the jumbled one messed up somewhere along the way, but in reality you never know how long it took for the one that's together to get in that position, just as you don't know if the jumbled one was brought into this world as a mess of colors. Huh? Something tells me I literally just had a thought and was typing. Like, was I journaling that day? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Honestly, the whiplash I'm getting from reading these notes, they are so all over the place. But this next one, eating disorders are so normalized and common, so many people don't realize they're disordered. It happens a lot with men, orthorexia, etc. So I'm going to explain this one. I'm not going to go too long on about this because one of the longer episodes that I want to be able to do as soon as I'm able to is very much based on eating disorders and stuff, but eating disorders are that prevalent within society and that ingrained in people that so many people don't even realize that they are struggling with an eating disorder, and I see it all the time, especially in gym culture. often gym culture is looked at as like they're as healthy as possible, they eat so clean, they work out all the time, but that's an eating disorder in itself. No one talks about orthorexia, and orthorexia is where you're eating lean constantly and you're working out constantly, and your whole life basically revolves around controlling your body and what goes into it, etc. Now, because it's not necessarily that they're not eating and it's not necessarily that they're making themselves sick, people overlook it completely, but it is so prevalent in society to just have so many different eating disorders normalized, and because of the stereotypes and the misunderstanding behind eating disorders, there is so much more harm done when people do talk about eating disorders, and like so much that just isn't spoken about. So we're going to move on from that now, but the internalized eating disorders that are ingrained in so many people without realizing, or with realizing, and then they're mis-stereotyped so they don't talk about it. Anyway, I could go on forever, but that was a note. Next. Okay, I feel we have gone way too far down and things got way too dark, so we might have to leave it at that. I'm going to try and chop this up so it's not a terrible video. It's obviously not going to be great, but doing what I can with what I can. I'm going to have to give this camera back to my sister. Alright, hopefully there's at least like 20 minutes of a video that's not too negative, but for now I better skedaddle with my funky little noodle. I hope you're all having the most amazing week. I obviously didn't have a what would you do today, but if you have any dilemmas, predicaments, topics you want us to open a conversation about, advice you need, whatever it may be, feel free to send a voice note or a message over to my Instagram. I'll pop it on the screen and hopefully I can incorporate it in one of the coming up videos. For now we're leaving it there, but forehead kisses all around. Look after yourself and we will yap again very soon. Bye. Thanks for yapping.